Hello all and welcome back to another wonderful video. Today I am on the party island with trees that you can't see through because today I want to go over some of the settings in Ponytown. The reason for this is because recently I've talked to a handful of people that I was able to help with the settings and stuff like that, and kind of tell them things that they didn't really know about the settings and stuff like that, and just overall help them with different things like being able to see through obstacles and everything else. So today I really just want to go through the settings because hopefully I can help you learn more about the settings, and hopefully just this video will help you and other people in general and stuff like that. So today we're going to go over the settings. Now, as you can see on the screen, and as you've most likely seen because you've most likely played the game, and if you haven't, well then welcome to Ponytown. There are two setting icons, one in the top right corner next to the players friends list and next to the swapper icon, and then there's one down here on the bottom of the screen next to your action bar. The one next to your action bar is only strictly for action settings. These can only do things for actions. This will allow you to equip this down here so you can equip it faster by dragging and dropping it. By the way, these work exactly the same on mobile. You're just gonna have to tap and hold to move it instead. So these exact same things work on mobile. You have like save map icons and stuff like that. Just different icons. They do different things. I'm not gonna go through everything that these different icons do personally, because I partially think they're mostly self-explanatory. But this is for your building actions and stuff like that. You also have expressions and stuff like that. The expressions is the most unique and most interesting part of the whole actions thing, personally for me anyway, because this allows you to create all kinds of like specialized faces and stuff like that. So let's say I want this happy face, and let's give it different eyes for both, so we can have like something like this, or it's almost like a wink or something like that, and then maybe we do a mouth or something where it's like an angry wink face, or maybe they're hurt or something like that. So let me go back to this eye actually, and do this or whatever. So now it looks like it's hurt or something like that. Maybe this more likely or something, I don't know. And then back to the extra, you can do different things like add blush to it if you want to add blush to it, add sleeping to it if you want to add sleeping to it, tears if you want it to also be tearing up, which makes sense if this is like a hurt thing, different stuff like that. You could just add stuff like that. And then if you want to add that action, if you want to add that expression down to your hotbar, all you're going to do is click this and hold on to this, or tap it and hold on to it if you're on mobile, and just drag it down to your actions bar. And now we have that. We can just put that anywhere. It kind of just fits right in there wherever. I'm just gonna put it on the end because I'll probably remove it later, but yeah. And then you have the chat icons as well. So if you don't want to use commands such as /clovers or /candies or /roll, which I recommend always using /roll command, because the best way to use the /roll command is to use /roll and then just for some random number, so you can roll between those numbers. But you can, if you don't want to do that, you can just throw down some candies down here, and then now whenever I want to check how many candies I have, I can just tap that icon. And if you want to remove one of your actions bar, if you want to remove something on your actions, you're going to actually open up your settings icon and then just kind of move that over onto that, and it will remove it. So you can just remove it however you want, whenever you want, all completely up to you. And then of course you have options such as resetting to the default actions. So if you have a bunch of actions that you're not using, if your entire actions bar is full of random junk that you've made over the course of a couple of days, weeks, whatever else like that, you can just reset it back to default. You can export the actions or import the actions. I've personally done this because there was a time when I was like removing them constantly. But then there's a clear action bar. This will clear your entire action bar. There will be absolutely nothing left. The only way to get them back is to either come here and import them back, or just come up here and just reset it back to default, or just go and just remake them yourself. Of course, you have your actions as well. This is the same thing. This is all pretty self-explanatory, but that's really the actions bar settings and stuff like that. You also, of course, like I said earlier, have this settings icon up here in the top right, and this is the most interesting of them all, because this is the one that allows you to actually change how the game plays and stuff like that. So if we go up there and just click it, we can have all kinds of options. For one, we can change the volume of the game. I personally love the music, but when I record, I can't really have have the music playing, because the music just kind of goes over what I'm saying, and the music might be too loud, and I can't really find a good balance between all of that. So normally I just kind of more or less mute the audio and the music and stuff like that when I record. But if you wanted to, you can just turn it right on. You just kind of turn it up, turn it down, however you want, and you can change it, skip whatever song is playing by just pressing this button, and it skips through all of the songs. Each kind of section of the map has its own library of music. So the island itself has some music, the house itself has some music, and then the caves have their own set of music, and then the regular island has its own set of music. So they all have their own set of music. Personally, I would love it if we could listen to like Sunny Island if we're in the caves, or like listen to something that's in the caves while on the island or something like that. I personally think that would be a really nice addition. Hopefully we do get that eventually, but right now there's no way to do that. You're just stuck to whatever is currently available for those islands, such as Sunny Island is stuck for Sunny Island, and Island is stuck for Island, stuff like that. So along with that, you also have this up here in the scale thing, this little scale magnifying glass thing. All this does is allow you to zoom in, zoom out. You can do the same thing by pressing O and P on your keyboard. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if there's a quicker way to do it on mobile without going to your settings, but yeah. That's just a quick way to do it. If you have a keyboard and mouse and stuff like that, just press O and P to zoom in and out. Then of course you have your actions. You can actually go to your action settings through this settings icon on the top right as well. There's nothing really you can do here that we haven't already discussed. So if you for some reason can't see this, if you can't find it, or something's going on with that button, you always have this button up here in the top right to affect your actions as well. Then of course you have the settings icon, which is the settings button in these settings. Which give you the most diverse settings that the game currently has to offer. You can just straight up ignore party invites. This will just ignore all incoming party invites. They just won't happen to you. It doesn't apply to friends, however, so if you have friends on your friends list and they're inviting you to a party and you have this enabled, you're still going to be invited to that party, so don't be surprised if that happens. Same thing with ignore get item gifts. What this does is if I enable this, no one will be able to give me items. No one will be able to give me items other than friends. People on my friends list will be able to give me items, but random players who constantly like bombard you with like gifts and stuff like that, if you just want to ignore them, if you don't want to, you know, accept that flower 100 times, if you don't want to accept that banana for whatever strange reason, you have the ignore items gifts, so people will not be able to give you items. Of course, you have things like ignore friend requests, so if you do this, no one will be able to friend you, so be very careful with that setting. You also have the see-through obstacles setting in here as well, which basically just allows you to see through obstacles. You can apply that. By the way, if you want to go through these settings, change whatever, you have to hit OK when you're done. Otherwise, it will not save what you've done. So if you do that, you can do this, but you can also press F4 on your keyboard if you're on keyboard to kind of toggle this. You can toggle this with F4. So you can toggle that on and off. Just, it's flashing trees. That tree is flashing. Oh no. You have prefer walking to running. This will change your speed essentially. You know how like when you hold down shift and it makes you walk a little bit slower. Basically what this will do is kind of change that. So if I enable that real quick and kind of show you. So now I'm always walking like this. So now the only way to actually get a speed boost is to hold shift. But now it's kind of reset it. But if you do have this enabled, you can still run, or sort of run. You can still move faster if you hold down shift. Then you have the graphics tab, which is actually a really interesting tab. I'm not sure how much like the graphics quality thing changes and stuff like that. I think when you do stuff like change the graphics quality, I think it changes stuff with like the torches and other lighting and stuff like that. But I just normally have my graphics quality at high because if your computer can't run Ponytown, you probably just need a better computer or mobile device or whatever. Anyway, brighter darkness, this is exactly what it sounds like. If the game is just too dark to you, like it is for me, I usually have this enabled, but I reset all my settings before I started the video. This will allow you to kind of see the screen a little bit better when there's just complete darkness. When you're in the caves, for example, or when it's nighttime, the game can be very, very dark. And I personally have trouble seeing things in the dark like that, so I usually keep my brighter darkness turned on. There's also the power saving mode, which reduces frame rate to extend battery life and CPUs and stuff like that. Then you have show statistics, which there's no real reason you probably need that, but if you need it, then there you go. And then of course you can show your FPS. I usually have that enabled too because there's lots of cases where like lag will happen and stuff like that. But what that'll do is that'll put this number up here in the top left corner of the screen, and that's your frames per second. That's how many frames per second is happening in the game. Normally it's around 60 to 50, somewhere around that. But if there's a ton of people on the screen at once, it can go down to 30 or even less. Then, of course, you have chat settings, filter settings, and control settings. Chat settings allow you to hide just like any and all chat messages, any and all, just like the chat. Basically, you just completely hide it. You can hide all the public chat. You can allow only friends to whisper to you. You can change it to where the chat log is a different opacity, so we can turn that up to 100 if you want to. Just turn that up to 100, and what that will do is, as you can see now, the chat over here is just completely solid now, and I can actually just cover up almost my entire screen. This would be a very interesting way to play the game. I actually kind of want to try that now, but setting the opacity way up like that is a interesting thing for sure. If you do mess with the setting, I do recommend having your chat open when you do mess with it, because it changes in real time. So as you're changing this, you could see it in the preview down there. You can just have it completely invisible, which I kind of want now that I think about it. Anyway, you can change the chat log range. Now what this is the way Ponytown works is the local chat picks up things that are around you in your immediate area. Things that are normally on your screen will show up in the chat log. So if I'm zoomed in really close and there's people talking, you know, way out here near the docks or whatever like that, and I'm over here, I won't be able to see that in my chat log because they're too far away for the game, for my end to pick up and see that, for it to come up in there. The only exception to this are stuff like whispers like this, but of course there's also ways to change that. So if you want to change the range, you can actually change that. Normally it's defaulted to the entire screen. Like I said, since they're up at the docks and I'm down here, I can't see what's going on. There's no way to extend it past that, but if I want to, I can actually make it shorter. And the fun thing about this is it actually shows you the range. So you can actually see the range getting shorter and shorter, and it actually tells you exactly how many tiles that is as well, which I think is fascinating. So if you don't want to see that many messages in your chat log, you can just turn your chat log range way down to like 2 tiles, and you're almost never going to see anything in your local chat at all pop up. This can be good if you're in a huge group and you only want to be able to pick up a handful of things in the chat log and the local chat and stuff like that. Personally, I prefer just leaving it at the entire screen because there's some funny things that just show up in chat sometimes that I just wouldn't have noticed otherwise. Moving on though, we have filters. You can filter Russian chat, so if people are using Russian language and for whatever reason you don't want to listen to that or hear that, maybe you're not Russian and so you're like, well, I can't understand anyway, so there's no point. You can just completely hide all messages retaining Russian alphabet. You can also filter bad words. I'm not 100% sure what this looks like because I've never done this before, but I assume it just kind of filters it out in some way. Let me see if I can actually get that to work. Like, will it filter yourself? It doesn't filter yourself, but it does filter bad words, or at least it's supposed to. So basically it just censors swear words and other harmful phrases in the chat. Then of course you have the custom chat filter, which you can choose which words you don't want to hear in the chat log and stuff like that. Then of course you have controls. If you don't know, you can actually control the game with a Xbox controller, or you can play it from your Xbox if you really wanted to. So you can disable the gamepad controls, and by gamepad controls they're talking about like a controller is what they're talking about, like an Xbox controller. Then, of course, you can disable function keys like F1 through 12, like I was doing the see-through obstacles thing, toggling that. You can turn that off. You can disable map tools, disable double-click to look, which I'm actually going to do right now, I think. And just different stuff like that. There's all kinds of different settings and stuff like that, and I encourage you to explore these settings yourself. But, oh, by the way, it's dark now, so let me change my okay, so you can see now that the darkness is way different. It's a lot darker now. That's because I turned my brighter darkness on. I turned it off. So if I turn it back on, you'll see that it just gets brighter. Where is that? There it is. See, it just immediately gets brighter. And this is what I prefer to play as, especially if you're in the caves, because it is very, very, very difficult to see in the caves and stuff like that. But anyway, this video is a little bit longer than I thought it was going to take. I honestly thought this was going to be like a 10-minute video, and I was trying to talk really fast so I can get through it all. But unfortunately, it ran on for quite a long time. So hopefully, I was able to enlighten you, so to speak, and give you some knowledge and stuff like that. And I do hope that you learn a thing or two. And if you did, please let me know in the comments below, because I would love to hear what you learned, or if there's something that I just failed to mention or failed to be clear about, go ahead and ask, or go ahead and comment that as well, because I just want people to be as knowledgeable as possible when it comes to things like Ponytown, because just Ponytown is a great game, and you know, it's wonderful. Look, I can put out this torch by booping it. You know, that's incredible. But anyway, that's gonna do it for the video. So I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please like, subscribe, share, do those wonderful things, because when you do those wonderful things, you get access to wonderful content such as this. But that's not all you get. That's not all you get. You also get to become wonderful yourself, and I think we all want that. So do those wonderful things, and until next time, stay wonderful.